Senator Rand Paul has just issued yet another warning to the American people. This time, he's warning that things are not going to get better. In fact, they're going to get worse. What am I talking about? Well, take a look at where I found this, and this is on theconservativebrief.com, and it's headlined, Rand Paul releases a damning report on rising inflation. It's only going to get worse. The article goes on to state that Kentucky GOP Senator Rand Paul released a damning report this week on rising inflation and its troubling effects on low and middle income families and small businesses. In an 18-page report called The Hidden Tax, Paul, who serves on the Senate Committee on Small Businesses and Entrepreneurship, blames the 7% spike in consumer prices, a 40-year high, on excessive coronavirus relief spending by Congress. Now, Paul is also warning that the rising prices are only going to get worse. In recent months, prices on nearly everything from gas, food, and clothing to electricity, car prices, and rent have all increased. And unfortunately, it's only going to get worse. Rand Paul said in a statement, Congress needs to realize that further spending at this time of rapidly rising prices is only going to continue the trend of rising prices on this nation's already vulnerable businesses and families. Now, he detailed this entire report in something that he's calling the hidden tax. And I'm going to take you straight to that source in just a minute because I want you to see directly what he's saying. But before I go, I just want to say this. The Democratic Party often lies a lot, and especially those in leadership. They said, we're not going to increase your taxes. However, they did increase your taxes via inflation, and it's hitting the middle class more than anyone. In all reality, inflation is a form of hidden tax, and that's what he talks about in this report. But here it is. The hidden tax, inflation's effect on American families and small businesses. And you can see Senator Rand Paul there at the bottom. But here's what he says in the executive summary. The Bureau of Labor Statistics Consumer Price Index release on January 12, 2021 found that prices had risen 7% in the 12 months prior to December. This represents the largest increase in a 12-year period in the last 4 decades. Similarly, the Producer Price Index, the PPI, final demand released on January 13, 2021, found that the prices for businesses had jumped 9.7% in 2021, the largest calendar year increase in prices for businesses in the history of this index. As Nobel laureate Milton Friedman suggested in a speech amidst the period of rising prices in the 1980s, inflation can be thought of as a hidden tax for rampant government action. Though the U.S. government has not levied taxes to pay for the $4.9 trillion spend on COVID relief, the American public must still pay a hidden tax. In an attempt to understand how this tax was levied and how it affects American workers, this report arrived at 3 key conclusions. And here are his key conclusions. Number 1, COVID-19 stimulus is directly responsible for the rising prices. So because of the stimulus money that was given to us by the Biden administration and that he kept pouring out through all these programs, this is one of the reasons that we have rising prices pretty much everywhere. Number 2, he goes on to say, inflation disproportionately harms low and middle class families. And he makes this statement, 71% of households making under $40,000 annually have indicated economic hardships from rising prices, as opposed to just 29% of households making under $100,000 or more. And you can see inflation by household. You can see no hardship, that's the gray color, and the red color, hardship. So those making less than $40,000 a year were the most impacted by inflation and the cost. So 71% actually lied on the shoulders of those under 40,000. Where we see 40 to 100,000, it's about 47% hardship, and those over 100,000, only 29% impacted by this. These are huge numbers that we're talking about here. Now, his third point goes on to say this: inflation disproportionately harms small businesses. 82% of small businesses reporting raising prices in the last several months, and 42% reported raising prices by 20% or more. So those are 3 things that we really need to focus on. And I'm going to repeat those. 1, the COVID stimulus is directly responsible for the rising prices. 2, inflation disproportionately disproportionately harms the low and middle class families. And 3, inflation disproportionately harms small businesses. So those are the 3 things. But he goes on to quote Milton Friedman and what Milton Friedman had to say about inflation. And I think this is a very important quote that you guys should hear. And here it is. Before every election, our representatives would like to make us think we are getting a tax break. And they are able to do it while at the same time they actually are raising our taxes because of a bit of magic they have in their kit bags. That magic is inflation. They reduce the tax rates, but the taxes we have to pay go up because we are automatically shoveled into higher brackets by the effects of inflation. A neat little trick. Taxation without representation. And this is exactly what the Biden administration has done. And this is exactly what is hurting families all across the country. In fact, let me show you inflation by category so you can see just kind of a summary of how bad things have gotten. And here's that summary. Also in that same report, you can see gasoline has spiked from a year ago, 49.6%, followed by fuel, used car and trucks, utility gas services and new vehicles, tobacco and smoking, electricity, food, apparel, and transportation services. Everything has literally gone up and skyrocketed, especially within this last year with these Biden policies. In conclusion, the report has this to say, and I wholeheartedly agree. And here's what it says. In conclusion, $4.9 trillion in COVID-19 stimulus spending has led to one of the highest and sustained levels of inflation in U.S. history. Though government stimulus spending was intended as a form of relief, and low and middle income families, as well as small business owners, were promised that their taxes would not increase as a result of those packages, Americans are now paying a hidden tax for those policies. So there you have it. That's why the Biden administration isn't concerned at all with trying to fix inflation. I believe that inflation is one of the tools that the Democratic Party is using in order to tax the American population. I don't see him fixing it. I don't see him wanting to fix it. And things are going to get worse here in the United States of America, which is exactly what Senator Rand Paul was saying. And why are they going to get worse? Because the end game is not to fix it. The end game is to tax you without representation. Look, if you want more information about what's really going on in society, you really got to get to restrictiverepublic.com. Right now, we have an amazing New Year special. You can get $5 per month for the entire first year. Use the coupon code 2022 to check that out. But get to Restrictive Republic. I can't tell you, we've got so many exclusive videos on there, content that you really need to see. We warned you guys about this inflation plan years in advance on Restrictive Republic, and we make many predictions there. We do live stream. We're going to try to do a live stream sometime by the end of this month. So get to restrictiverepublic.com and check us out there. Anyhow, I really would love to hear your thoughts, comments, and concerns. I know many of you are worried about what's going on at the grocery stores. We have products missing all over the place, empty shelves happening all over the place. And according to Rand Paul and what I believe, things are going to get worse because, again, the Biden administration is not about fixing the problem. Anyhow, with that, please don't forget to check out my partner at ketowithlisa.com. If you guys haven't tried the keto diet, or if you've tried the keto diet and you want a way around the keto diet without all the stipulations, you're going to want to check this out at ketowithlisa.com because it really gives you the benefits of the keto diet without having to do the keto diet. And of course, you want to exercise and diet as well with that, but you don't have to do it the keto way. So this is kind of a way around it. So check it out. And if you made that New Year resolution to lose weight, give this a try. They have a 60-day money-back guarantee. So check it out at ketowithlisa.com. Anyhow, thanks again for tuning in. I'm Lisa Haven, signing out.